Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are watching this video today, I want to invite you to take a deep, steadying breath with me. Just take a second. Because if you found your way to this content, you are likely carrying an incredibly heavy, exhausting burden. You are likely sitting in the middle of a conflict that feels entirely impossible to solve, asking yourself a question that haunts you day and night. Do I stay with my narcissistic, antagonistic partner, or do I leave? For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Barbara Duchnowski. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, a certified narcissistic abuse treatment clinician, an EMDR therapist, and an advanced clinical hypnotherapist. But beyond those clinical credentials and the trauma-informed modalities I use every day to help people heal, I am also something else. I am a survivor. I know the terrain of this abuse, not just from the textbooks and the clinical hours, but from the inside out. And because I know it from both sides, I know that if you turn to standard relationship advice, well-meaning friends or even professionals who don't truly understand the architectural reality of narcissistic abuse, you are usually given a very simple, very romanticized formula. They will tell you, just leave. Put your happiness first. Think of the children. Or on the other side, you'll hear, stay for the stability. Marriage takes work. But you are here because you already know deep, deep in your gut that standard relationship rules do not apply to a narcissist. This is the first video in a crucial two-part series. We are stripping away the myths. We are going to look at the actual chessboard of both choices, because here is the raw, unfiltered truth. When you have children with a narcissist, there is no pain-free path. Both staying and leaving carry immense structural costs to your mental health and to your children's well-being. Today, in part one, we're going to look at the invisible trap of staying. We aren't here to shame you. We are here to validate your reality and look clearly at what actually the costs are for you and your children to remain under that roof, so that you could stop gaslighting yourself about the environment that you are actually living in. So let's start with the path of staying. Many protective parents choose to stay for years, maybe even decades, and they do it out of profound sense of loyalty, perhaps financial survival, fear, or a desperate desire to keep the family unit intact. But let's look at that daily price your mind and body are paying for that choice. Living with a narcissistic partner means enduring a chronic, slow-rolling erosion of your sense of self. It doesn't happen all at once. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. It starts with the subtle gaslighting, the rewriting of history, the trivializing of your feelings, the projection where their bad behavior is somehow turned into your fault. Over time, you stop trusting your own memory. You stop trusting your own intuition. You find yourself constantly previewing everything you say, editing your tone, and modifying your behavior just to avoid triggering a mood swing or a rage fit or the very cold shoulder. You are running on an ongoing simulation in your head of how will they react to everything? What does that do to your physical body? Well, it keeps your nervous system in a state of chronic hypervigilance. You are quite literally walking on eggshells in your own home. Your brain is treating your living room like a war zone, constantly flooding your system with cortisol and adrenaline. And this isn't just an emotional toll. It manifests as chronic fatigue, exhaustion, autoimmune flares, insomnia, digestive issues, and that dreadful, pervasive, heavy brain fog. Your body is screaming what your mind is trying to minimize. Furthermore, a narcissistic antagonistic person requires total control, which means they will systemically isolate you. They will criticize your friends, alienate your family, and make it so exhausting for you to maintain outside connections that you eventually just give up trying. You end up perhaps entirely alone, trapped inside their warped version of reality, with no objective sounding board to remind you of what is normal. Now let's talk about the children, because the number one reason protective parents give for staying is, I don't want to break up the home for my kids, and I understand that instinct deeply. You want to protect them from the chaos of a broken home. We have to look at the clinical reality of what children absorb when they grow up under the same roof as a narcissistic, antagonistic parent. Children do not just listen to their parents, they absorb the relationship environment. When you stay, you are inadvertently providing your children with a warped blueprint for what love, respect, and marriage look like. They learn that love means compliance. They learn that love means walking on eggshells. They watch one parent dominate, demean, and control. And they watch the other parent endure, tolerate, placate, and then slowly disappear. They learn that boundaries are dangerous and that your own feelings don't matter if an angry or cold person is in the room. Furthermore, narcissistic parents do not see children as individual human beings with distinct emotional needs. They see them as extensions of themselves, as tools for their own validation or targets for their frustration. In these households, children are often forced into rigid, toxic roles. You may have heard of these. You have the golden child who is praised only when they achieve or reflect well on the narcissistic parent, teaching that child that love is entirely conditional on performance. And then you have the scapegoat, the child who can do nothing right, who becomes the garbage can for the narcissistic parent's internal shame, blame, and rage. Sibling dynamics are often weaponized as well, pitting the kids against each other to keep them from forming a united front. Competition is encouraged. And very often, your children become parentified. They realize early on that the narcissistic parent is volatile, unstable, or emotionally unsafe. Because of that, they feel a premature, crushing responsibility to emotionally support you, the healthy parent, or to protect the younger siblings. They are robbed of a normal, carefree childhood because they are acting as emotional air traffic controllers in a house where the weather is always unpredictable. When you map out these costs, it feels overwhelming. It feels like staying is a slow sentence of emotional erasure for both you and your children. And many of you watching this right now might be thinking, okay, I see it. Staying is destroying us. That means leaving is the only answer. Leaving will finally give my kids the peace and freedom they deserve. But I need to pause. I need you to pause. Because this is exactly where mainstream advice falls short and fails you. The idea that leaving provides an immediate, clean, peaceful break is a very dangerous myth. When you have children, leaving does not end the dynamic. It just changes the geography of it. And next week, in part 2 of the series, we are going to look at the secondary door. We are going to expose the brutal reality of the family court system, the painful truth of the disengaged or unreliable parent, and the agony of losing your ability to be a shield for your kids when they are away, and the heartbreak of the replacement family. If you are trying to make this impossible choice, or if you have already left and are wondering why it still hurts so badly, you cannot afford to miss this next video. Please subscribe to the channel, turn on your notification bell so you don't miss part 2 next week. And remember, you are not crazy, you are not alone, and you are doing the best you can to navigate an impossible situation. I'll see you in the next video.